'tis the season to play party games the past few weeks, am I right?
You are right. Fa la la
Yeah, you're-
la 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 la.
Yeah. So with my family in town, I had some family in from New Jersey, and it's always like the past few years, it's always just kind of a struggle to find good games that work with everyone. People aren't really into board games in my family, which is fine. Every year I try valiantly just to force games on them, and I think I found ones that actually work. And of course, it's more party style games, right? In the past, I've tried things like, gosh, I don't even remember anymore. I think I've blocked it out
Betrayal.
of my memory.
Pandemic.
No, way too heavy. Like, oh, okay. One that worked a while ago was Word on the Street. Have you ever played that one?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, fantastic family party game where there's a long row of tiles with alphabet letters on them.
Okay.
I don't know why I said alphabet letters. They're just normal letters.
They're,
from
yeah,
the
regular
alphabet.
letters. Right. Yeah.
There's no other kind of letters anyway. And so it's not every letter, but the bulk of them. And you're broken into two teams, and something happens where you think of a word, and when you say that word or spell that word, you move every tile of a letter in that word over to your side.
Right.
And there's like 3 spaces on your team side, and you're trying to pull the tiles off the board completely. So it has this great back and forth. Anyway, highly recommend Word on the Street, but that's not any of the games I put on my list. A game this year that worked, that's actually been around the media
Sphere.
sure.
World.
It's called, the media people. It's been around. It's called Just One. And this is by, oh crap, I didn't put this, but it's by, okay.
Repo.
Thank you, Repo. It's by them.
Saved your butt.
Whoa, I was going to say the people who did Concept, because it reminds me a lot of Concept.
Yeah,
But
Repo
in Just
Productions.
One,
Yeah. They have the sombrero hat.
Yes, they do. Awesome games. Love them. This one is no exception. Probably the simplest party game I've ever seen. It's everyone's working together. One person draws a card with 5 words on it, numbered 1 through 5. They say number 3. Everyone else can see that what number 3 is, and they're trying to write on this little cute whiteboard tent thing just one word to help the person guess what his or her word is. So everyone does this, and then once they're all done writing their clue, the person whose turn it is close their eyes, everyone shows each other what they wrote, any duplicates are then erased. And that's the twist, right? That's the fun part of it. And so then they open their eyes and they see, and they just get one guess as to what the word is. And this game is just fantastic. It worked with my family. It worked with my friends. It worked with my friends and family. It worked with all of them. It's just so easy to just pick up and explain and just go. And we're actually pretty good at it. Like, it's pretty easy to get the word if you're trying to think outside the box. A couple examples. We had two rounds of this. One go so well and one just completely bomb, and they were one after the other. The first round, the word was rock. I put the word the rock. And come to find out, someone else put Dwayne. I think that was my dad. Yeah. And then someone put Johnson, but none of us put duplicates. So when we all turned around to see what we said, we had everything but rock. We had Dwayne, we had the blank, and then we had Johnson. It was incredible. Okay, like it was just this weird, like we were all in sync. It was a beautiful moment.
Like the mind.
Like the mind.
Yep.
The next round, complete opposite. The word was metal. Every single person in my family, there were 6 people playing, put the word heavy.
Yep.
No one put like iron or steel. We all put heavy. So we all erased it, and they didn't have any clues, and it was absolutely hilarious.
I was going to ask you about that
great.
In terms of like, have you ever had a round where everyone just said the same thing? To me, and that's crazy that just they don't get anything. They're just like have to just say something out of.
Yeah, it was, and honestly, like there weren't a lot of times where we actually had duplicates, which was a challenge because we just know we have to think differently. There's somewhere you could see where someone is going to guess something, and so you try and or write a clue down, but you don't. Try and match it. Anyway, it's super fun. I highly recommend it. It's called Just One. It's all the hype right now. Highly recommend it. Play it.
I saw that at Fantasy Flight the other day.
Yeah, it's really inexpensive too. I think it's like $25.
Yeah.
It's worth it. It comes with markers, like whiteboard markers and small little whiteboard tents, like super good quality. It plays up to 8 people, which is great.
Nice.
Or is it 7? I don't know. Whatever you want. We can play with that number.
10.
Sure. Why not? Actually, we played with 9, which is definitely more than it's recommended. And so someone just had to sit out each round, which is not ideal, but with a big family get together, it's fine.
I see.
What have you been playing? What are some good party games you have?
Yeah, the last couple of years, I've tried to force upon my family games that I like, and that never went well at all. So I've been really trying to keep the ideas in terms of what I want to be able to present to my family and extended family, 2 party games. And this year, on my mom's side of the family, my brother and my cousin would run a whole family-wide like game thing that was mainly just like a series of silly little games that they decided they don't want to do. So they're like, hey, Ryan, you're the board game guy now, so you're going to have to think of a game for everybody. So what I did was I played... So instead of getting everybody gifts, it's just kind of like you throw $20 into like the game, and then we all would just play, and the top 3 payouts win, just because we're all too old to really just buy each other anything, and we see each other like twice a year. So that's just how it works. So this year, what I decided to do was I took a cue from the Dice Tower and I bought Wits and Wagers.
Ooh,
Yep.
I always wanted to play it, but I never have.
Yeah, so how Wits and Wagers work is that you divide up into teams, or you can play by yourself, depending on how many players play. And so in this case, like with my my mom's extended family, like with all the cousins and things, like it's like 25 plus people that are there with kids and stuff. And that's the great thing too, is that kids, like I think we had some cousins that were like 6-8 years old. They could totally play and participate, because how this works is that there is someone that like, so I acted kind of as like the game master, and I said, okay, you read a question, right? And it's like, how fast is the world's fastest elevator, right? No one, like, who knew that an elevator could go faster than like 5 miles per hour, right? But anyways, it's like 39 miles per hour, spoilers, okay?
That's a fast elevator.
Yeah, it is a fast elevator. And so what ends up happening is that everyone has their own marker sheet, and they put their guess down, and they submit it on the table, face down. Then it all gets flipped over and revealed, and then what ends up happening is that each team has 2 betting chips at 200 and 100. And what they can do is they can then bet on themselves if they know they have the right answer, or they can bet on someone else's answer. And so what ends up happening is everybody puts their betting chips out, and then the real answer is revealed, and the person who is closest that doesn't go over, which is Price of Right style, wins. And so they count up. First, they count who got it right. They get a point, or 100, or however, whatever type of monetization it is. And then whoever bet on them, so like if you put like your 200 chip on there, you get 2 points. If you put your 100 chip on there, you get 1 point. And so then that's how the game goes for 7 rounds. My mom's side of the family has a very like they're a very vocal family, and so everyone though seemed to really enjoy that. So Wits and Wagers is one of my party game suggestions that works really well on like large family events like mine, like 20 plus people.
I just realized I've totally played that game. I had no idea that was Wits and Wagers. I've heard of Wits and Wagers a ton, and I played it before I was even into board games. A buddy of mine invited. He lived across the street, and we played this. And this is the guy who I ended up playing game nights at his house when I started getting into board games, because he was actually into board games.
Whoa.
Wits and Wagers. I got to go get a copy of this game.
There you go,
sounds
dude.
Wonderful.
There's like a collector's edition that's pretty cool, but I mean, you can pick up the regular version for like anywhere, like Target, Walmart, any of those places. So.
I saw a giant mat of it at my game store, like a big rolled out a neoprene mat that would work for it.
Yeah, there's like
cool.
there's like really blinged out versions of that game. So
Wits and Wagers, that's cool. So when I was playing, so this was a gift from my wife. She got me a copy of Secret Hitler, which I have not had in my collection ever. And it's okay. So this has been a very prolific game. It's been around for a while and super, super popular. People who aren't really in the hobby know about this game. it's so popular that it was being counterfeited on Amazon. That's how popular this game was.
Yep.
But this is your classic hit and roll game made popular by Werewolf, made popular by Resistance. This is most like the Resistance or Avalon, where you're broken up into two teams. The teams don't know who each other are, except there are fascists and liberals. The fascists know who each other are. One of the fascists can be Hitler, which is represented by a lizard, which is hilarious. And you're just trying to pass off agendas, either fascist or liberal agendas, and people vote on the government for each round, who's the president and who is the chancellor.
Yep.
Anyway, and so there's a lot more to it. If you're really interested in games like this is probably my favorite version of this kind of game. I got burnt out on Resistance quickly, but it's great to have a game like this back in my collection. It's one that my wife enjoys and that I enjoy a ton. I played it with members of her family and with my family and friends, and it is just a great game. It's one that I'm happy I have in my collection. It's not one that I would bring out with like my family over the holidays. I think it's a bit too much for them, but with friends, and this was actually played New Year's Eve, where we just played a bunch of party games, and we played this a couple times, and I dig it. Like, I get its hype.
Yep.
The production quality is beautiful for how mass produced it really is. Like, awesome foil embossing on the cardboard and really thick cardboards, boards itself, and great cards and great artwork.
Yep.
Good chunky wooden pieces for the president and the chancellor, things like that. It's a great game. Like, I regret not having in my collection up until now, because it's worthy of all of its praise. Now, it sounds like you have played this before.
Yeah, this went over really well last year with my folks, which is interesting because, again, the content of Hitler being in the game, even though he is portrayed as a lizard, it's very cartoony, right?
Oh, yeah.
I thought would kind of put them off, but they really enjoyed it still. Again, too, they're cute because when they know they're bad, they're the bad people. They definitely were kind of like quiet, more reserved, because I think it's hard to try to like pretend if you're a good guy or bad guy. So, but it didn't make the game any less fun. It's a great game. There's like a wooden box version that I'm actually really sad that, there's always like those like collector's versions. There's like one that came in like a laser etched wood box that I kind of was like, oh, that would have been really cool. But
beautiful.
But it still doesn't matter because like just the mass produced copy is still a really great production to be had regardless. So
yeah, it's great. Secret Hitler by, I don't know who it's by. I Google it, find it for yourself.
Yeah, it's really interesting because it was published by the same people who did Cards Against Humanity, and they're basically at a point where like Max Temkin was the guy who created it. They have a company. I just don't know who they distribute with. I know. Yeah.
That's funny because Max Temkin actually just popped into my head. So hold on. I'm just going to look as you talk about your next game.
Yeah, so as I said in my previous game,
it's called Goat, Wolf, and Cabbage.
Yeah, see, that's so weird. I don't ever really think of them.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I don't really know what they do publishing-wise.
Goat, Wolf, and Cabbage. I'm sorry to interrupt. Continue.
Yeah. So the next game I want to be able to talk about is a little kind of take on Blackjack called That's Not Lemonade by Matt Fantastic and Tuesday Night Games. This was something that for $10 I just kind of threw my money at it and was like, we'll see what happens with it, because I was at Origins. I got a little demo. The guy who did the demo was fantastic, and I was like, screw it. I'm just going to go ahead and back a copy. This is kind of like a family-friendly version take of Blackjack, where what you're trying to do is you burn a card. So it's just like a card with like, I don't know how many cards, like 20 so odd cards, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. And you have like cutesy little cups that you use that kind of denote whether you are still in the game, whether you're out, or whether you passed. So very much like Blackjack, what you're doing is the dealer asks, do you want to hit or pass? If you hit, you get a card face down that you look at. If it is a lemon card or an ice cube, you keep it. If it is a That's Not Lemonade card, which are 4 of them in the deck, you have to reveal it and you're out for that round. And the game just kind of continuously goes around until essentially everyone passes or everyone's out of the game. Whoever has the most lemons is the winner of that specific round, and you just kind of keep going until you stop feeling like playing the game. So there was a little tumultuous time of being able to explain the game because a lot of my folks really look at blackjack and being like, hit me, pass, right? It's not like that. It's you have your turn to hit or pass, goes on to the next person, and just kind of ropes around that way. The explanation of the game didn't go as well as I thought I had done. But as we started playing, people really got into this game. A lot of my family members commented afterwards that both games, with Wits and Wagers and That's Not Lemonade, are both really great games that they could play with everyone, adults and kids alike. So again, having my cousins that was like 14 years old, 13, 14 years old, to my cousins who are a little older than me, to my uncle who's in his 50s, my dad who was playing, like they all understand what blackjack is. And they were able to, I think, gravitate towards this game and get it after some stumbling with the rules and explanation of how it works. But beyond that, That's Not Lemonade by Matt Fantastic and Tuesday Night Games was a hit. I think it's a game that could easily devolve into a drinking game. Like you fill that cup up with like hard liquor, and if you're out, you have to take the shot, right? Like so easily can be done. But yeah, that's just how I kind of saw it as too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, check it out.
Yeah,
I know
awesome.
Kickstarter backers got it. I don't know if you can get it yet, but Tuesday Night Games also did Tomb Room and a Boom. If you've ever played that game.
Okay, I'm actually really interested in that game.
That's
with big groups.
Yep, I played it at Halloween, 2 Rooms and a Boom, and you just have to be social. If you're kind of an introvert, it's a little bit harder. You have to kind of like, so 2 Rooms and a Boom is a game where there's a president and there's a bomber, and you, after certain many rounds, the objective is for the blue side, for the president to be away from the bomber, and the red team is trying to get the bomber and the president in the same room. And there's different ways that you can kind of reveal your identity card. And so we played at Halloween, and we had the upstairs people and the downstairs people, and there's like this whole like hostage trading thing where the leaders of both groups, like after a set period of time, like come together and like, we have your hostages, and you just like do this hostage swap, and then you have to like talk to each other and be like, hey, can you show me your card? And people can say yes or no, like it's totally you to do that. But then people start like the extroverts start to kind of lead the way, and the introverts are kind of like, I don't know what to do. Two Rooms and a Boom is a neat game. I think it's a really fun game, but it like you have to have like 10 people to play that game, otherwise it doesn't really work. So,
is the copy you have the one with the clear cards?
No, I don't. This was played at someone else's house.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to get it. I've just heard the ink rubs off those cards really easily. I don't know if that's true.
I have no idea.
I'm going to add it to my list. I'll just leave them. Yeah, that sounds cool. Cool. I'll check that out. So for me, I'm going to end on one of my favorite party games, which I just want to talk about as a party game. I didn't play it this last couple of weeks, but I just want to add my voice to how much I love this party game, and that is Cash and Guns.
Yep.
I think I have the second edition or whatever, but the reason this game is beautiful is because it gives you an excuse to point foam guns at each other.
Yes, it does.
It's just this game is just so beautiful. So I've played it with friends at work before, and they really enjoyed it. I play with people I don't even know, and it works great. So what it is, it's after a heist, and there are a bunch of cards in the middle that represent the loot that you have, and you're all trying to get the most loot from this heist. So every round, everyone at the beginning of the game is given 8 cards, 5 blank cards, and 3 bang cards. I think that's the right ratio. Mm-hmm. And the bang cards, you're trying to bluff that you're actually going to shoot people. So everyone holds their guns in the air, and then on the count of 3, they all point their guns at someone, and that's the person that they're going to shoot. And the people, if you have a gun pointed at you, you have to choose if you're going to stay in the round or go out of the round. If you stay in and get shot, you're out anyway, but you lose a life. If you bow out and you actually do get shot at, you actually don't take a wound, but you're still out. If you take 3 wounds, you're out of the game completely. So there's a high risk there as well. And so there's just this great bluffing, and you're just pointing at people. There's always the Godfather each round, and they have like an ability to have someone change who they're pointing at, which is really interesting. It's light, it's fun, it's easy to explain. It gets people going because you just get to like everyone. It's without a doubt, every single time I play this, someone always points to someone and then turns their gun to the side, gangster style.
Yep.
And it just happens every single time. It always happens. The components are great. So there are a couple expansions out for it, which I don't find necessary. Maybe to increase player count, but that's about it. But it's just a great game. I believe it's a reskin of an older game called Samurai Sword something.
Never heard
It
of it.
was it was a sword themed game instead of guns. But anyway, that's Cash and Guns. It sounds from your mumbles of agreement over there that you've played it before.
Yep, I played it. Yeah, there's different kind of unique rules to the game, but what I found about this game is that I played this in my earlier days where there was a lot of drinking involved, and at that point, it didn't seem like anyone was really interested in wanting to be able to get into some of the side rules and things that can happen. So it was just basically like, hey, play a card. Do you shoot someone or not? Yay. If not, okay, and then move on. It's just like that's all people cared about. People just cared about pointing things at people, and I mean that's
see.
cool and all. It just kind of was one. It was like with you and the Resistance. I kind of got over it.
Yeah.
But I think I'd have a better appreciation for it. I think especially if I played it with a group now that
Is into games and stuff.
yeah. And it's not
Yeah.
like I didn't have fun playing it with people that weren't into games. It was just kind of one of those things where I was like, okay, I'm kind of moving on, just checking other things out. So that's totally fine.
Yeah, it's great. And there's other party games that like I got a copy of Deception Murder at Hong Kong for Christmas, and there's just other games I just love. I'm really enjoying party games lately. It kind of took me a while to really get into them, but I've just been, I don't know, I really love them. What's one more that you want to talk about?
Yeah, the last one that I wanted to be able to quickly talk about that I've kind of already made mention to that I got to play a lot this holiday season was Catch the Moon. Catch the Moon is a Bombix game that you are essentially trying to catch the moon by placing these ladders intertwined with each other to essentially grab a moon that doesn't exist, but essentially is Jenga in reverse, where you roll a die, you either have to place a ladder randomly from this box that can either only touch one ladder, must touch two ladders, or has to be the highest point in the figure that you're building. But it has to touch one or two ladders. It can't touch any more than that. And this is a game where it just gets it's as I said in previous podcasts, I think I've talked about this. It's one of those games where whether, it's as an equal of an art piece as it is a board game, where every single time you play this game, it's like you can leave it out and it's just like a nice little art piece that's there, and you can kind of tear it down and play it. It takes like 15 to 30 minutes, even with like 2 to 4 people. I've probably played this game like 10 or 15 times during the Christmas and New Year's break. I even got friends of ours who visited from Chicago to come back and actually purchase a copy. That's how much they like that. So that's always cool when that happens, where that influence just kind of pours over and they end up getting it for themselves and sending me a text being like, hey, check this out. This is one of the best games ever, right? And they had some crazy combination of like half the thing was like off the whole like cloud plastic thing. It's just takes the greatest pictures. It's a fantastic game that you can find pretty much online through online retailers, or some game stores carry it. But Catch the Moon by Bombix just wholeheartedly just replaces Jenga for me, right?
Oh yeah.
Just don't ever get the jumbo size version of this game, because there will probably be a death.
Like with actual ladders.
With actual ladders. Yep.
Yeah, it does look beautiful. I've seen there's a few copies at my local game store here, and I've been tempted because I love beautiful games like that are just simple to execute, super relaxing. Yeah, it looks great.
Yep.